Rain tapped rhythmically against the window pane, while I lay in bed with sore muscles from a full day of carpentry work in Maplewood. The old duplex had thin walls that carried every sound between our two homes. Lily had become my quiet neighbor over the past 2 years. She always left fresh baked goods on my porch whenever I helped fix something at her place, and her kindness felt like a gentle constant in my ordinary life. Tonight, her voice came through the wall, clearer than ever before. She sounded so close, it was as if she stood right beside me in the dark. "I've loved you across this wall." The words landed like a quiet thunderbolt straight into my chest. I heard her quick, embarrassed breath right after, and pictured the blush rising hot across her cheeks in the dark. Fresh Vermont air greeted me as I stepped onto our shared porch with a mug of coffee the next day. Her whispered confession from the night before still echoed inside my head and made the wooden steps feel different under my boots. Lily had always noticed when someone needed help and offered it without expecting thanks in return. I had done the same for her by repairing her fence last month and clearing snow from her steps all winter long. We had built a comfortable friendship made of small daily gestures and easy conversations through the wall. But after hearing that secret, I wasn't sure our quiet routine could ever stay the same again. "Morning, Ethan. I baked extra scones if you'd like some with your coffee." Sawdust floated lazily in the slanted morning light, streaming through the dusty windows of my small workshop attached to the duplex. I tried to focus on sanding the edges of a custom bookshelf, but my thoughts kept circling back to Lily's trembling whisper from last night. For 2 years, she had been the gentle presence next door, the one who remembered I liked my coffee black and left warm banana bread on my porch after long workdays. Her kindness was never loud, but it had slowly become part of my daily life in Maplewood. Now every smooth stroke of sandpaper felt heavier. I kept wondering how many nights she had lain awake just on the other side of that thin wall, carrying feelings I had been too blind or too careful to see. "Ethan, sorry to bother you. I brought fresh iced tea. It's getting hot out there already." I set the sanding block down and met her eyes, the same gentle green eyes that now held a secret I wasn't supposed to know. Her simple kindness hit different today, stirring something warm and uncertain deep inside my chest. The warm afternoon sun filtered through the tall maple trees that shaded our shared backyard as I helped Lily fix her favorite bird feeder that had come loose in last night's wind. She worked quietly beside me, wearing gardening gloves and an old, oversized sweater, her cheeks still carrying a soft pink tint whenever our eyes met. We had tended this little green space together for so long, it felt like our own small sanctuary. Each time our hands accidentally brushed while passing nails or holding the post steady, something electric passed between us. I found myself noticing little things, the way she tucked her hair behind her ear, the gentle way she spoke to the birds. "You really don't have to keep doing all these fixes for me, Ethan, but I'm really grateful." I swallowed the urge to tell her I had heard every word last night. The tension between us was growing with every quiet moment, and it was becoming harder to pretend nothing had changed. Soft lamplight filled my living room as I sat on the couch, pretending to read the same page of my book for the 5th time. Through the shared wall, I could hear Lily moving around in her kitchen, the familiar sounds now carrying new weight. Gentle acoustic music drifted from her side, the kind she played when she wanted to unwind after a long day at the town library. It wrapped around me like a quiet invitation I wasn't sure I was ready to accept. The rising pull toward her felt undeniable now. Her constant, quiet kindness had always made my ordinary life warmer, but after her confession, it was slowly cracking open something deeper in my chest. Dark storm clouds rolled in fast over the maple trees as I helped Lily bring her potted plants under the porch cover. The air grew thick and heavy with the coming rain in our quiet corner of Maplewood. She moved with her usual gentle grace, but I noticed the slight tension in her shoulders. Our shared backyard had always been a place of easy friendship, yet tonight it felt charged with unspoken words. When our hands touched while lifting the last heavy planter, A spark passed between us that neither of us acknowledged out loud. Thunder rumbled closer in the distance. We need to get inside before it pours. The power went out just as the rain began pounding the windows. Lily lit several candles, filling her cozy living room with a warm, flickering glow. We sat on the couch with blankets, listening to the storm rage outside. The intimacy of the moment made my heart beat heavier. I could see the internal struggle in her gentle green eyes as she stared at the candle flame. Then she spoke the words that changed everything between us. Her voice was quiet but filled with raw honesty. "Ethan, that whisper you probably heard the other night? It was all true. I've been in love with you for almost 2 years. I've even started applying for jobs out of town because hiding these feelings right next door has become too painful." Her confession hit me hard. The possibility that she might leave Maplewood and our shared wall suddenly made the slow-burning feelings inside me flare into something urgent and undeniable. Hours later, back in my own bed with the storm now reduced to soft rain, I couldn't stop replaying Lily's words. The thin wall between our bedrooms felt both too thin and too thick at the same time. Every small act of kindness she had shown me over the years now took on new meaning. She had loved me in silence for so long, while I remained comfortably oblivious. The thought of her possibly moving away created a deep ache in my chest. Our quiet life side by side was suddenly facing a real threat, and I knew I couldn't let her go without fighting for what we might have. Morning sunlight cut through the dusty windows of my workshop while I stood at the workbench, sanding the same piece of oak over and over. The confession from Lily still echoed in my head like a storm that refused to pass. I had always been just the neighborhood carpenter in Maplewood, fixing fences and building bookshelves for folks who needed help. Kindness came easy to me, but love felt like something too big for a man with sawdust in his hair and calluses on his hands. The thought of her leaving town because of feelings I had never returned made my chest tighten with guilt. I wondered if my quiet life next door had only kept her trapped instead of giving her the future she deserved. "Ethan, I got a call this morning. The library in Burlington offered me the head librarian position. It's a real step up." Her words landed like cold rain. I forced a small smile and told her it sounded perfect, even as something inside me cracked wide open at the idea of our shared wall becoming empty and silent. The town square bustled gently with weekend shoppers under the warm Vermont sun, while I sat on a bench pretending to watch the fountain. Lily walked past carrying a small box of books from the library. She moved with the same gentle grace that had always drawn me in, yet today her shoulders carried a new heaviness. Our eyes met for only a second before she looked away, the blush from her whispered confession now replaced by quiet sadness. I wanted to cross the square and tell her everything I felt, but the fear that I was just holding her back kept my boots planted on the cobblestones. Kindness had always been my strength, but right now it felt like the wrong tool for this ache. "I'm going to accept the offer, Ethan. It's time for both of us." Her words cut deeper than any saw blade. I nodded like a good neighbor should, watching her walk away while the distance between us grew, even though we still lived side by side. Darkness wrapped around my bedroom as I lay awake, staring at the ceiling cracks I knew by heart. Through the thin wall, I could hear Lily moving quietly, the soft sounds of drawers opening and boxes being taped. Every small noise felt like another nail in the coffin of our quiet life together. I had pushed her toward that job offer, thinking it was the kindest thing I could do. Yet now the emptiness already hurt worse than anything. The dark moment settled heavy in my chest. 2 years of shared kindness, shared walls, and shared silences were slipping away because I had been too afraid to speak what my heart had slowly been learning all along. The last light of day faded through my living room window, while the sound of cardboard boxes being taped shut drifted clearly through the thin wall. My hands clenched around the coffee mug until my knuckles turned white. Every gentle kindness Lily had ever shown me flashed through my mind like a film reel I couldn't pause. I had spent 2 years thinking I was just being a good neighbor, when in truth, Her quiet love had been slowly teaching my heart how to feel again. The fear of losing her forever finally shattered the careful wall I had built around myself. I stood up so fast the chair scraped loudly across the floorboards. Not tonight. Not like this. Cool evening air hit my face as I stepped onto the shared porch with my heart hammering against my ribs. The wooden boards creaked under my boots the same way they had 1,000 times before, yet tonight, every step felt different. Her front door was slightly ajar, and soft lamplight spilled out onto the porch steps. I could smell the faint vanilla from the candle she always lit when she felt overwhelmed. 2 years of small, shared moments, of kindness passed back and forth like quiet gifts, all came rushing to the surface at once. I raised my fist and knocked before I could talk myself out of it again. "Ethan? Is everything okay?" Candlelight danced across the half-packed boxes scattered around Lily's cozy living room as I stepped inside and closed the door behind me. Her gentle green eyes widened in surprise and something like hope. I crossed the small space in 3 strides and took her hands in mine, feeling the familiar warmth that had always been there, if only I had let myself notice sooner. The thin wall between our lives had finally disappeared. My voice came out rough with 2 years of unspoken feelings. Her blush returned full force, the same one I had pictured the night she whispered her secret. "I heard you that night, Lily. Every word. And I've been falling in love with you across this wall, too. Slowly, quietly, the same way you loved me. Don't leave. Stay and let me love you the way you deserve." Ethan. She rose on her toes, and our lips met in the softest, most honest kiss I had ever known. The kind of kiss that felt like coming home after years of walking alone. Golden morning light spilled across the shared porch steps while I stood there holding 2 mugs of fresh coffee. The rain from yesterday had left everything clean and sparkling in our quiet corner of Maplewood. Lily stepped out in her oversized cream sweater, hair still loose from sleep, and the smile she gave me felt like the first real sunrise after a long winter. Last night's kiss still lingered warm on my lips. 2 years of kindness passed through a thin wall had finally led us here. I handed her the coffee and let my fingers brush hers on purpose this time. "You stayed." I nodded, heart full in a way my ordinary carpenter life had never known before. The wall between us had come down for good. Sunlight poured through the kitchen window as we stood side by side at the counter, making simple scrambled eggs and toast. The half-packed boxes were pushed neatly into the corner, forgotten for now. Lily moved with the same gentle grace that had always made my days warmer. But today there was no hesitation in the way she leaned against my shoulder. Her kindness had never asked for anything, yet it had given me everything. I turned and wrapped my arms around her from behind, resting my chin on top of her head. The quiet, small-town life we had built together felt brand new and perfectly ours. "You're not going anywhere, Lily. Not Burlington. Not anywhere. This wall, this life, it's ours now." I've waited so long to hear you say that. Her words settled deep inside my chest, like the final piece of a puzzle I didn't know I was missing. Warm Vermont sun filtered through the maple leaves while we sat together on the old wooden bench in our shared backyard. The bird feeder we fixed days ago swayed gently above us. Lily rested her head on my shoulder, and I held her close, breathing in the quiet peace that had always lived between our 2 homes. Kindness had been our language long before we found the words. The slow burn that started with a whispered confession across a thin wall had grown into something steady and true. In this small town, with this extraordinary woman beside me, my ordinary life finally felt complete. "We're going to be so good at this, Ethan." We already were. We just didn't know it yet. I kissed the top of her head and listened to the birds singing above us. Across the wall that no longer divided us, love had finally found its quiet, perfect home.